All right, number 14. We have a minus I over 3 minus 2i. If the expression above is rewritten in the form a plus bi, where a and b are real numbers, what's the value of a? Note I equal to square root negative 1. Okay, so what we have here, these are we call a complex fraction. Okay, so a complex number on the top and the bottom. So there's a real number, and then there's the I, that's an imaginary number. Okay, and we know I is, the definition here is square root of negative 1. Okay, so we can't have a negative under square root. So in order to happen, that's not a real number, we call it imaginary. Okay, so, and also we want to keep in mind if you have I squared, okay, we square the I, then this will be square root of negative 1 squared, which is just equal to negative 1. Okay, so I squared is actually a real number, it's an integer. Okay, so equal to negative 1. You want to know that as well. Okay, so to simplify this here, the rule is this. Okay, we don't want a imaginary part on the denominator. Okay, so that's not considered simplified. So our goal is to get rid of the I on the bottom. Okay, and the way we do it is we have to multiply by the conjugate of the denominator. Okay, what is a conjugate? Well, the conjugate is you look at denominator 3 minus 2i, we switch the sign and make it 3 plus 2i. And this is the conjugate of 3 minus 2i. Okay, so if it's a minus, we make it a plus. If it's a plus, we make a minus. That's a conjugate. And we'll see later when we multiply out why will this be helpful. Okay, so just remember if you multiply that on the bottom, we also have to do the same thing to the top. So we're multiplying 3 plus 2i on the top. And now let's start multiplying. So we start on the bottom. We're multiplying 3 minus 2i times 3 plus 2i. And we multiply these as like FOIL. Okay, we have to do first term times the first term. 3 times 3, that's 9. And we do the outer term, 3 times 2i, that's plus 6i. We do the inner terms, we get negative 2i times 3 is minus 6i. And then we do the last term times the last term, negative 2i times positive 2i, that's negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. I times I is I squared. Okay, so we get negative 4i squared. Okay. And then on the top, let's do FOIL as well. We can multiply a minus I times 3 plus 2i. We get 24, right? And then outer term plus 16i. Inner term minus 3i. Last term is negative 2i squared, like that. Okay. So now we simplify the denominator. You see here, we have a plus 6i minus 6i, and they're exactly opposite of each other, so they will cancel out. And we multiply the conjugate, this will always happen. Okay, so the two thing in the middle there, they will always cancel out. All right, and then what we have here is 9 minus 4 times I squared. Well, we said earlier, I squared is actually negative 1, right? So then let's just rewrite it. I squared as negative 1 like that. Okay, see this here help us get rid of all the imaginary components, right? So we just left with real numbers on the bottom. So by multiplying the conjugate, this will always happen. Okay, so we now have imaginary part on the bottom. On the top, the imaginary won't completely cancel, so we'll still have some left here. So you put 69 minus 3i should be 13i. Minus 2i squared, that's negative 2 times I squared is negative 1, like that. Okay. And then to solve this out, we get this on the top is 24 plus 13i, and then negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2. On the bottom, 9 minus 4 times negative 1 is plus 4. And we can continue to simplify. This is on the top at 24 plus 2 is 26 plus 13i over 9 plus 4 is 13. And this here, we could split this up and simplify as two separate fractions. This will be 26 over 13 plus 13i over 13. And they're all divisible by 13. So the first one will just be 2. And then here 13 cancel, will be 2 plus I. Okay. And that's our final answer. So 2 plus I, that's the complex number for our solution. And this we want our answer in this form, right? So it'll be A plus BI. And this what's the value of A? So the A value is the whole number in front, right? The real number in front. So that's the 2 we're looking at. Okay, so A should be 2. So that's the answer choice A for question 14. All right, so this looks a little bit intimidating, a little bit complex, but it's always the same method here for this type of question. Always multiply by the conjugate of the denominator on the top and the bottom, and then multiply out and simplify from there. Okay, so for this question, the answer is A.